The universe is filled with wonders. We often find unexpected connections between seemingly disparate fields. These connections hint at a deeper underlying unity in the cosmos. Today, we explore one such fascinating link, the coherence of the Quran and the mathematical concept of the digital root. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, is renowned for its intricate structure and profound message. This message of unity and divine guidance unfolds through a tapestry of verses, chapters, and themes. Meanwhile, the digital root, a simple yet elegant concept in number theory, reduces any number to its core essence, a single digit. This essay delves into the captivating analogy between these two seemingly distinct domains. We will uncover how the digital root, like a key, unlocks a deeper understanding of the Quran's inherent unity. Prepare to be amazed as we embark on this journey of exploration, where mathematics and spirituality converge. Let's begin by choosing specific verses for our analysis. We'll use the first verse of Surah Al-Fatiha and the last verse of Surah Al-Nas. Surah Al-Fatiha, verse 1. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Surah Al-Nas, verse 6. Min jinnati lanasi, from among the jinn and men. Next, we convert the Arabic text to numerical values using the Abjad system. For Bismillah, B equals sign 2, S equals sign 60, M equals sign 40, LL equals sign 30, HH equals sign 5. For Ir-Rahman, A equals sign 1, RRR equals sign 200, HH equals sign 8, MM equals sign 40, NN equals sign 50. For Ir-Rahim, A equals sign 1, RR equals sign 200, HH equals sign 8, YY equals sign 10, M equals sign 40. Adding these, we get 137 for Bismillah, 299 for Ir-Rahman, and 259 for Ir-Rahim. The total for Surah Al-Fatiha, verse 1, is 695. For Min, M equals sign 40, N equals sign 50. For Jannati, J equals sign 3, N equals sign 50, T equals sign 6, Y equals sign 10. For El-Nasi, LL equals sign 30, NN equals sign 50, S equals sign 60. Adding these, we get 90 for Min, 109 for Jannati, and 140 for El-Nasi. The total for Surah Al-Nas, verse 6, is 339. Now, let's find the digital roots. For 695, the digital root is 6 plus 9 plus 5 equals 20, and 2 plus 0 equals 2. For 339, the digital root is 3 plus 3 plus 9 equals 15, and 1 plus 5 equals 6. The digital root of the first verse of Al-Fatiha is 2, symbolizing duality or balance. The digital root of the last verse of Al-Nas is 6, symbolizing perfection or completeness. Both numbers are even, suggesting a sense of balance or completion within the Quran's beginning and end. Summing these digital roots, 2 plus 6 equals 8, we get 8, which is already a single digit. This exercise illustrates numerical symmetry and interconnectedness within the Quran. While not a traditional proof, it reflects on the text's unity in a mathematical sense. This approach is not used in classical Islamic scholarship, but can be an engaging way to explore the Quran from a modern, interdisciplinary perspective. The Quran's beauty lies not just in its eloquent language, but also in its intricate structure. Like a tapestry woven with threads of silk and gold, the Quran reveals a magnificent design. Each chapter, each verse, contributes to a larger unified message. At the heart of the Quran lies the message of Tawheed, the oneness of God. This theme reverberates throughout the text, a constant reminder of the divine unity underlying all creation. From the very first chapter, the Fatiha, to the last verse revealed, the message of God's singularity is clear and unwavering. Beyond this central theme, the Quran addresses a multitude of human concerns. It speaks of morality, justice, compassion, and the importance of leading a righteous life. Stories of prophets and past civilizations offer guidance and wisdom for navigating the complexities of life. Yet despite this diversity of topics, the Quran maintains a remarkable coherence. Future directions include further empirical studies to test this analogy in other religious texts. The development of digital tools that apply mathematical coherence analysis to theological texts is underway. Philosophical inquiries into the nature of unity, simplicity, and complexity across different fields of study are also being explored. To further illustrate the Quran's coherence, we can use the concept of digital roots. Each chapter and verse in the Quran can be converted to a series of numbers based on the abjad system where each Arabic letter has a numeric value. For instance, the first verse of Surah Al-Fatiha, Bismillahir-Rahman-ir-Rahim, has a total numeric value of 695 and its digital root is 2. Similarly, the last verse of Surah Al-Nas has a numeric value of 339 and its digital root is 6. When we sum the digital roots of different parts of the Quran, such as the first and last chapters, we still get a single digit symbolizing unity. This consistent pattern in digital roots supports the Quran's thematic and structural coherence, aligning with the belief in its divine origin. Now let us turn our attention to the realm of the mathematics. The digital root, also known as the repeated digital sum, is a simple yet powerful concept. It involves adding up the digits of a number and repeating the process until a single digit is obtained. For example, let's take the number 786. Adding its digits, 7 plus 8 plus 6, we get 21. Since 21 is not a single digit, we repeat the process. 2 plus 1 equals 3. Therefore, the digital root of 786 is 3. This process might seem like a mere mathematical curiosity, but it reveals a hidden order within the seemingly chaotic world of numbers. No matter how large or complex a number may be, its digital root always simplifies it to a single digit between 1 and 9. At first glance, the Quran and the digital root might seem worlds apart. One is a sacred text, a source of spiritual guidance, while the other is a mathematical concept. Yet upon closer examination, a fascinating analogy emerges. Just as the digital root distills any number to its core essence, the Quran, despite its multifaceted nature, ultimately conveys a unified message. The message of God's oneness and the importance of living a life aligned with His guidance. The Quran's diverse verses, chapters and themes all converge toward this central truth, just as every number, regardless of its complexity, can be reduced to its digital root. This analogy goes beyond a simple metaphorical resemblance. It highlights a profound principle at play, the principle of unity in diversity. The universe in all its complexity is governed by underlying laws and principles. Similarly, the Quran, despite its rich tapestry of stories, laws, and exhortations, points towards a singular unifying truth. This analogy can deepen the understanding of the Quran's divine origin by highlighting its structural and thematic coherence as a miraculous sign. By bridging theology with mathematics, this analogy encourages a holistic approach to knowledge, showing how principles from one field can shed light on another. It underscores the philosophical concept of unity and complexity, suggesting that beneath the surface of diverse revelations lies a single, unifying truth. This framework can be used to teach both the structure of the Quran and the principles of number theory, promoting a more integrated educational experience. The digital root demonstrates how complexity can be reduced to simplicity, mirroring the Quran's ability to convey profound truths in an accessible, unified form. Just as numbers reduce to one of 9 roots, this can metaphorically represent the unity beneath the apparent diversity of Quranic verses. The digital root's reliance on modulo 9 arithmetic can inspire further research into how modular concepts apply to other areas beyond number theory. The properties of digital roots can be leveraged in developing efficient algorithms for data processing or error checking. The analogy invites the use of computational tools or mathematical models to analyze texts for coherence, potentially applicable to other religious or philosophical texts. It opens up discussions on how numerology or symbolic numerics can be interpreted across cultures, linking mathematical concepts with cultural symbolism. Encourages the design of curricula that integrate theology, mathematics, and philosophy, fostering a comprehensive educational approach. Students can learn to appreciate the interconnectedness of knowledge, seeing how mathematical principles can illuminate spiritual texts. The analogy could serve as a platform for interfaith discussions, exploring how different scriptures maintain coherence and unity. It provides a framework to appreciate the structural and thematic unity in sacred texts beyond the Quran. The analogy between the Quran's coherence and the digital root is not just an academic exercise, but a profound exploration of how mathematics can reflect spiritual truths. It matters because it transcends the boundaries of disciplines, offering insights into the unity of all knowledge and the simplicity underlying complex systems. The implications are significant in fostering a more interconnected view of science, philosophy, and theology, encouraging us to seek the essence in all things, whether through the lens of numbers or sacred texts. Section 5. The Power of One: Theological Insights from the Digital Root Analogy. For those who revere the Quran as a divine revelation, the digital root analogy offers a fresh perspective on its nature. The Quran's ability to convey a unified message, despite being revealed over a period of 23 years in diverse contexts, is seen as a testament to its divine origin. This unity, reflected in the digital root analogy, points towards the singular source of the Quran's message, God. Just as the digital root of any number ultimately leads back to a single digit, the Quran's diverse verses and chapters all point back to the one God. Furthermore, the digital root analogy can enhance our understanding of God's attributes. The concept of unity, so central to both the digital root and the Quran, reflects God's attribute of Al-Wahid, the One, the Indivisible. This attribute emphasizes God's absolute singularity and uniqueness. Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening chapter of the Quran, exemplifies this unity on a smaller scale. It follows a mini-ring composition, starting with praise of God, moving through worship and sovereignty, climaxing with mercy and judgment, and returning to guidance and prayer. This structure not only provides structural beauty, but also enhances thematic coherence, emphasizing central messages within the narrative. The ring composition technique guides the reader to the core message, reinforcing the unity and depth of the Quranic text. Section 6. Beyond Boundaries: The Interdisciplinary Significance. The first revelation to Muhammad, encapsulated in the initial verses of Surah Al-Alaq, had profound and far-reaching impacts on various dimensions of history, religion, culture, and society. It marked the beginning of Muhammad's prophethood, establishing him as the last prophet in the Islamic tradition, thereby founding Islam as a monotheistic faith distinct from Judaism and Christianity. The Quranic text, believed by Muslims to be the literal word of God, began its descent with these verses, providing spiritual, moral, legal, and social guidance for Muslims. The night of the first revelation, known as Laylat al-Qadr, is considered the holiest night in the Islamic calendar, where worship is believed to be worth more than 1,000 months of regular worship. This moment initiated a cultural shift towards monotheism, moral reform, and social justice in pre-Islamic Arabian society. The command to read underscored the importance of education and literacy, leading to a surge in learning among Muslims and influencing the development of Islamic scholarship in various fields. The Quran's poetic and rhythmic style, introduced with the first revelation, had a lasting impact on Arabic literature, poetry, and calligraphy, shaping Islamic art. This cross-pollination of ideas can lead to groundbreaking discoveries and a deeper appreciation for the unity of knowledge. Section 7. The Universe in a Grain of Sand: Philosophical Implications. Beyond its interdisciplinary significance, the digital root analogy also has profound philosophical implications. It speaks to the human quest for understanding the universe and our place within it. The concept of unity and diversity, so central to both the Quran and the digital root, is a recurring theme in various philosophical traditions. From the ancient Greeks, who sought the arche, the fundamental principle underlying all reality, to modern physicists searching for a unified theory of everything, the human mind is drawn to the idea of a fundamental unity underlying the apparent diversity of the cosmos. The digital root analogy reminds us that complexity often arises from simple, elegant principles. Just as the infinite variety of numbers can be reduced to their digital roots, the vast complexity of the universe might be governed by a small set of fundamental laws. Section 8. Empirical proof of digital root properties. To prove empirically that the digital root of a number equals the digital root of its chunks, and that the digital root is immune to all cumulative operations, We will use logical steps combined with empirical examples. Step 1. Definition and properties. The digital root of a number is the single-digit value obtained by recursively summing the digits until the result is a single digit. Mathematically, drn equals sign n mod 9, with the exception that if n mod 9 equals sign 0 and n0, then drn equals sign 9. Properties include invariance to rearrangement, chunking, and the additive properties. Step 2. Proof of dr of number equals dr of chunks. For example, the number 1234 has a digital root of 1, and its chunks 12 and 34 also sum to a digital root of 1. Step 3. Proof of dr immune to cumulative operations. For instance, the number 1729 has a digital root of 1, regardless of how the digits are summed. Through multiple examples, we've shown that the digital root of a number equals the digital root of the sum of its chunks and is immune to cumulative operations. This empirical consistency supports the claim that the digital root is a fundamental property of a number, invariant under various mathematical operations. Section 9. A Universe of Unity. Conclusion and Future Explorations. As we conclude our exploration of the Quran and the digital root, we are left with a profound sense of awe and wonder. The universe is filled with unexpected connections, waiting to be discovered. By embracing an interdisciplinary perspective and remaining open to the interconnectedness of knowledge, we can unlock deeper truths about ourselves and the cosmos we inhabit. The digital root analogy is just one example of the many fascinating connections that exist between different fields of study. It serves as a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge is not a solitary endeavor, but a collective journey. By working together, by sharing our insights and perspectives, we can unlock the secrets of the universe and build a better future for all. As we move forward, let us continue to explore the frontiers of knowledge with curiosity and open minds. Let us embrace the unity in diversity, recognizing that every discovery, no matter how small, brings us one step closer to understanding the grand tapestry of the cosmos. Introduction. Surah Al-Kahf, the 18th chapter of the Quran, is renowned for its rich narratives and profound lessons, offering insights into faith, patience, divine wisdom, and the afterlife. This surah is particularly significant as it was revealed in response to the challenge of the Quraysh to prove the prophethood of Muhammad by telling a story no one had heard before. Here's an in-depth analysis. Thematic structure, Introduction to Faith and the Hereafter, verses 1-8. The surah opens by affirming the Quran as guidance and warning, setting the stage for the themes of faith, disbelief, and the consequences in the hereafter. The mention of the Day of Judgment and the disbeliever's fate establishes the moral framework for the subsequent stories. The Companions of the Cave, Ashab Al-Kahf, verses 9 and 26. This narrative tells the story of young men who seek refuge in a cave to preserve their faith, symbolizing steadfastness in belief amidst persecution. Themes, faith and patience, the youth's decision to flee rather than compromise their faith, divine protection, their prolonged sleep in the cave by divine will, time and eternity. The discussion on how long they slept raises questions about time in divine perspective. The parable of the two gardens, verses 32-44. A story illustrating human arrogance and the transient nature of worldly possessions. Themes, wealth as a test, contrasts the humility and faith of one brother with the pride and disbelief of the other. Gratitude versus ingratitude. The fate of the two brothers serves as a lesson on how one should react to divine blessings. Moses and Khidr, verses 60-82. This narrative explores the limits of human understanding versus divine wisdom as Moses learns from Khidr, a mysterious servant of God. Themes, divine wisdom, actions that seem unjust or cruel from a human perspective might serve higher, unknowable purposes. Patience and learning. Moses' impatience contrasts with the need for patience in understanding God's plan. Dhul Qarnayn, verses 83-101. The story of a just and powerful king who travels across the world dealing with different peoples and challenges, including the containment of Gog and Magog. Themes, justice and power, demonstrates the use of power for justice and the spread of good. End times. The sealing of Gog and Magog points to events leading to the Day of Judgment. Concluding remarks, verses 102-110, the surah ends by reinforcing the themes of faith, disbelief, and the hereafter, urging the reader or listener to reflect on the stories told. Themes, final warning, a reminder of the Day of Judgment and the reality of heaven and hell. Call to faith, an invitation to believe in the divine message and to seek God's mercy. literary and structural analysis. Ring composition. As mentioned, Al-Kahf uses a ring structure where the beginning and end reflect themes of divine oneness and the hereafter, with central narratives exploring the nuances of faith, wisdom, and justice. Narrative techniques. Dialogue, use of direct speech to add depth to characters and situations, making the lessons more engaging. Moral parables. Stories like that of the two gardens serve as parables to teach moral lessons. Intertextuality, references to other parts of the Quran, enhancing the interconnectedness of its messages. Moral and theological lessons. The surah emphasizes the importance of faith, patience, and the pursuit of divine wisdom rather than worldly knowledge alone. It contrasts the ephemeral nature of worldly life with the eternal consequences of one's actions. Cultural and spiritual significance. Friday recitation. Muslims often recite Surah Al-Kahf on Fridays, believing it provides protection against the Dajjal, the Antichrist, and brings blessings. Historical context. The challenge from the Quraysh to narrate an unheard story underscores the miraculous nature of the Quran's revelations. Conclusion. Surah Al-Kahf is not just a collection of stories, but a profound toolkit for spiritual and moral guidance. Its structure and narratives are designed to encourage reflection on faith, patience, and the seeking of divine wisdom. The coherence of its themes, the complexity of its narratives, and the moral lessons it imparts make it a pivotal chapter in understanding the broader messages of the Quran. Surah Al-Alaq, the 96th chapter of the Quran, is historically significant as it contains the first verses revealed to Prophet Muhammad. This surah, also known as the Clot, or the embryo, consists of 19 verses and is divided into two distinct parts, which were revealed at different times. Here's an in-depth analysis. Part 1, verses 1-5. The first revelation, revelation context. These were the first verses revealed to Muhammad in the cave of Hira, marking the beginning of his prophethood. Command to read, Iqra, read, is repeated thrice, emphasizing the divine command to recite or proclaim the message. Content, verse 1, read in the name of your Lord who created. This verse establishes the act of reading or reciting as an act of worship and acknowledgement of God's sovereignty. Verse 2, created man from a clinging substance, refers to human creation from a zygote, highlighting God's power over creation. Verse 3, read and your Lord is the most generous, emphasizes God's generosity, especially in granting knowledge. Verse 4, who taught by the pen, acknowledges the pen as a tool of divine knowledge transmission, symbolizing education and learning. Verse 5, taught man that which he knew not, stresses the divine gift of knowledge to humanity. Themes, divine authority and knowledge. The surah begins by asserting God's role in creation and education, human dignity. By linking human creation with divine teaching, it elevates the status of humans as learners and recipients of divine knowledge. Part 2, verses 6-19, a critique of arrogance, revelation context. This part is believed to have been revealed later, addressing the opposition Muhammad faced after he started preaching. Content, verses 6-7. No, indeed, man transgresses because he sees himself self-sufficient. These verses critique human arrogance, particularly when one's wealth leads to a false sense of independence from God. Verses 8 and 9. Indeed, to your Lord is the return. A reminder of accountability to God, countering the arrogance described. Verses 10-14. This section warns against those who prevent others from praying and who reject the truth. It describes the fate of the one who forbids prayer, leading to a confrontation with the angel of hell. Verses 15-19. A contrast is drawn between those who reject faith and those who pray, worship, and avoid evil, with the latter being saved from hellfire. Themes warning against arrogance. The surah condemns those who feel self-sufficient and reject divine guidance, accountability, and judgment. It emphasizes the inevitability of returning to God for judgment. Encouragement of prayer and humility. There's a strong advocacy for prayer, humility, and submission to God as a path to salvation. Political and legal impact. Formation of a new polity, Ummah. The revelation laid the groundwork for the formation of the Muslim community, or Ummah, which later developed into a political entity in Medina, influencing statecraft and governance in the Islamic world. Legal framework. Sharia. The Quran, starting from these first verses, would eventually provide the basis for Sharia, Islamic law, affecting legal systems in Muslim-majority countries and communities. Personal and spiritual impact Muhammad's life. transformation. The revelation changed Muhammad from a respected but private individual into a public figure, leader and reformer, enduring significant personal trials and tribulations. Spiritual practices, prayer and meditation. The revelation encouraged practices like prayer, salah, which became central to Muslim life, and the retreat for contemplation, itikaf, during Ramadan, reflecting Muhammad's own practice in the cave of Hira. Global impact spread of Islam, world religion. From a local phenomenon in Mecca, Islam spread across continents due to the teachings that began with this revelation, becoming one of the world's major religions. Interfaith relations, dialogue and conflict. The message of monotheism and the call to submit to one God introduced by the Quran has both fostered interfaith dialogue and at times led to conflicts with other religious traditions. Cultural synthesis, Islamic civilization. The principles introduced by the first revelation contributed to the synthesis of Arab, Persian, Greek and other cultural elements into what became known as Islamic civilization, influencing art, architecture, science and philosophy. Psychological and motivational impact. Inspiration. For millions, the story of the first revelation serves as an inspiration for resilience and faith in the face of adversity. It's a narrative of divine support against all odds, encouraging believers in moments of personal or communal struggle. Conclusion. The impact of the first revelation to Muhammad is immense, touching every aspect of life from the individual to the global scale. It initiated a spiritual awakening that has continued to influence human history, culture and thought for over 14 centuries. The verses of Surah Al-Alaq not only changed the course of Muhammad's life, but also set in motion a series of events that would shape the world in profound ways.